Welcome back to the show, everybody. The one and the only, the triple to G.O.D. Got the squadron in the building. Yo, we got some Power Rangers battle for the grid for that Gulo baby. Indeed we do, because I woke up this morning like, yo, man, it ain't nothing. I get in my Twitter feed, yo, Lord Zedd dropped last night. And I'm like, what? I'm like, because previously on Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, it took us almost 2 weeks to get Jen and Trey Triforia, so it's good. It's good to see the folks at Inway and everybody at Sony getting along and getting all this together. So I'm glad that that when I get a chance to play Battle for the Grid later, if that Lord Zedd will be available to play. Because the thing is that this information dropped at Evo, and then it's like I missed that information. So I was like, I'll hold on to the trailer until until Lord Zedd come out, and then we'll take a look at it to see what's good with the man. But there's something that I do need to say. Because, again, previously on this show, is that when we talked about who's going to be part of that Season 1 pass, when we did speak about Jen and Trey and Lord Zedd, is that I did a pretty good job of, explaining, why Lord Zedd is such a big deal for me because of, again, how much pomp and circumstance came when Lord Zedd landed on the scene. Again, because I'm going to put this on you just to remind you for any new folks coming in. Especially if you went out when Power Rangers was the thing. You feel me? They put the entrance of Lord Zedd on prime time television. It's like usually Power Rangers in the Hood came on at 3 o'clock on Channel 30. So it was a big deal for this to be in prime time along with the X-Men with the stuff that they was doing. Lord Zedd at the time was a big humongous deal because the Power Rangers would legitimately celebrate. You win even though we got a thing with Tommy that we finna get ready to deal with and his transformation into the White Ranger and all this stuff is about to happen. But before that, the man, Lord Zedd, is on the scene. And again, I'm going to say it. The way they give him the pomp and circumstance, the way they literally put him over as a real, actual threat in comparison to one of the greatest of all time, Rita Repulsa. It's like Rita was this, and Lord Zedd was way up here. And it's the show took its time to show that Lord Zedd is a monster. He is not to be played with. But at the end of the day, heroes do what they do. And it's the thing is that those characters, along with the rest of the squadron, they stayed really, really relevant. Especially in instances when you talk about another character in this game, G.O.D and the homeboy Rita Revolto, how they stayed relevant through the series with all the comedy and stuff while the real stuff is going on. So those characters stayed around for years, and they stayed a part of what a big piece of what made Power Rangers great for me as a kid, to see these characters evolve and change, even though I was like a 10-year-old and had no idea what any of these words meant or cared. But as an adult, I can really appreciate the evolution of these characters as they changed, as their roles in the show changed, and how much they really brought to the table, and how really important it was that at the end of all this, that those characters, they got resolution. And we're not going to talk about the resolution because that's another story, and that should be covered when I'm talking about a fighting game, because we should probably talk about that when, I don't know, maybe I'll take a look at Power Rangers in space or something, because that's kind of important. Yeah. But anyway, before we get into Lord Zedd, there is one more thing that I do need to say, just to make sure that I'm covering all my bases. This is not Lord Zedd's first foray into a fighting game. The last time Lord Zedd was in a fighting game, he was pretty damn good, but he's in the same game with fighting game God, so that's saying a lot. And if you forget who fighting game God is, that man is Ivan Ooze. I'm telling you, there are characters who are really tough, like Gao in Samurai Showdown, for example, his demon form. Ivan Ooze will whoop his ass. So that puts you on the level. It's SNK bosses ain't got nothing on Ivan Ooze. Because, let me quickly explain the Ivan Ooze thing, because you've given me this avenue, because I've explained this before. The reason why Ivan Ooze is God in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers The Fighting Edition is simply because his characters have no way to stop anything he does. They have no counter. This is unlike, and I'm going to say this because I'm on this, where people sit up here and scream, Pet Shop is super broken. The thing is, Pet Shop dominates most of the cast, but he got some 6'4s in there. He got some matches where he sits up here and he dominates every match, but it's not like a 10-0 sweep like Ivan Ooze rules over the rest of the cast at a game that he's in. So now you know the difference between Pet Shop being broken in JoJo and Ivan Ooze just being God in fighting game, period, because I really don't think there is like probably a fighting game character that because of the tools that Ivan Ooze has, you ain't touching him. Like it's like you can't fight me a final boss that can touch Ivan Ooze. I dare you. I triple dog Mark Summers dog dare you. Find me a fighting game boss that touch Ivan Ooze. You can't trust me. I've tried in my head. Ivan Ooze press one button and you get murdered. The only person who come close to one button technical murder button is Magneto in X-Men Children of the Atom. And even then, he's beatable by the characters in the same game in which he resides in. So while that's a thing, and while Magneto ultimately changed to the character you know and love and want in a Marvel game, at one point in time, he had one button that shot a fireball because X-Men Children of the Atom. But I am glad we talked about this. So what have we learned here? I have a childhood reference for a great villain from a great TV show. Ivan Ooze is broken for a reason, and Ivan Ooze is more broken than Pet Shop. Now that you know this information, and also one button that lets Magneto shoot fireballs in X-Men Children of the Atom, because that's information you can keep. So, with all of that being said, we got the double dose. We got the twins. They finna come here and hold it down. We finna take a look at this trailer with little sister. And if there's anything in it that I need to like retake a look at, we gonna get Big Sis up in there. I got a feeling we gonna need to get Big Sis up here. Because anytime I think I need Big Sis, we need her. So, no more games. No more talk. Let's bring little sister in here. Let's give one of the greatest villains of all time all the pomp and circumstance he deserves. So, with all of that being said, let's get little sis up in here. No more talking. No. We gonna do this right. Hold up. Oh, yeah, there we go. Just gotta eat that out. You know what I'm saying? Just gotta. I just said, shout to Eat the Cat was good. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, since we talking about Fox stuff right now, Life of Louis was good. You know what I'm saying? All right, y'all ready? Super duper duper mom, get magic, but where you at, baby? Told you. But just like that. Let's take a look at this Lord Zedd trailer, please. I have been waiting a very long time to take a look at this trailer, and we got more after this. So, yeah. With all of that being said, now activating Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, the Lord Zedd character trailer. .exe. Rated T for teen. Oh. That's not Robo Axelrod, but I will not complain. I should, but I won't. Oh, damn. Okay, I am loving using the Zedd trying to do that. And oh my god, I love these normals. I'm like, I don't remember the last time I've loved a normal. And like, what did he like do like a burst or something that like powered up his attacks or something? Because he did that like mid combo like a V-trigger. Okay, he calling out super putties. Oh Christ. Okay, he calling out super putties. I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. It don't get better than calling out super. Okay, that anti-air was stupid. Okay, and he's still calling out super putties. Oh my god. Oh wow. Okay. He summoned. Oh what? Okay, what the fuck is going on? Okay, he called out a. Oh what? Dead. Done. Nope. Done. No. Little sis, I need you to disappear because we finna get Big Sis something. We got. Excuse me? This man super is to call out super putties for the curb stomp, bruh. What? Video over. You know what? We don't need to analyze it. I am done. No. No. That is the greatest super move I have seen in a very long time. Very. Because, see, we gonna get Big Sis up here because we got to. But let me explain, like, why that just sat up here and KO'd me. That's a Lord Zedd super right there. That's something Lord Zedd would do. Call out the super putty for the curb stomp, dog. Like, I sit up here and think about like other supers in Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, and while you got most supers that are just supers, you have some supers that really like a tribute to the character in question. Like, but before this right here, my favorite super in the game was Tommy with the Dragon Dagger sitting up here calling in the best OTG in the business, Dragonzord missiles. Because it spoke to the character and what the character is about, and it wasn't just a super in a video game. This is next level because this speaks to me as a fan of Lord Zedd the character. Because yeah, that seemed about right. That yeah, you call in a super putty like Marco do the Metal Slug in Neo Geo Battle Coliseum. You get caught and then Lord Zedd sits down, give you the curve stomp, and then the Triple H joint, and then you sit up here and he go like, mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. You know what? We need to watch that one more time. Just for the hood. You know what? We still got other stuff to cover, but we finna run that back. That's a run back moment. So, yo, big sis, yo, we need you to come through, handle us, bless us with this Lord Zedd business. So, you don't need the same pomp and circumstance you handle. Ultra duper duper wallow, can't magic box, where you at, baby? I know you didn't. I know Big Sis didn't want it, but I figured Lord Zedd would want it, man. Let's run that back one more time, please. Yeah, rated T for 10. Yeah, we know. You were Lord Zedd. You're not Robert Axelrod, but I will accept this. I'm like Lady Sasuke's Rita Repulsa. I've gotten past the we really need to get like characters for this thing. But I am just like, I just love this dude normals. This dude using the Zedd Scepter, and it's like this is what I am looking for in my fighting game characters. It's like shout out to Clockwork and Shady K and everybody over there anyway, because I'm like I normally don't play characters like this, but given that Lord Zedd is my ace, and I am just in awe. Like, if we just watching the trailer back, this ain't even analyzation no more. This is just, oh my god, Lord Zedd's a gangster. Just why? Just look at this. Look at this. Look at this right here. Curb stomper, folk. Look at this, man. Lord Zedd a beast. Look, no, man. Lord Zedd is a beast. A beast. But look, regardless of all of that, we still got one more thing that we've got to do. So, we need to get Big Cuz up in here, because, you know, there is some news that you should be aware of, even though we already talked about at the beginning of this video that the character is available now. So, go Walla Walla Crow, where you at, baby? Where you at? Where you at, baby? Where you at? Holding the streets down. So, we get rid of this. I'm gonna close this. And, yeah, that's fine. Okay. Yep, Lord Zedd came out. So, oh, by the way, I'm in your top right corner, just in case if you forgot. Lord Zedd is entering the grid today. Our 1.40 update is rolling out and will be live soon. Season Pass holders for all platforms will be able to access the Emperor himself and Act 3 of the story mode in a few hours. You probably didn't know that the story has been broken up in to be continued moments, so it'll be interesting, you know, to finally sit up here and actually get a story time junction up, and actually when this thing finishes, because there's one picture in here we really need to take a look at. But did we see this coming? Nah, but it's a shame though. The picture I wanna get you to is this. This seems to be the immediate future of what's coming next. Mainly when we have Miss Lauren Sheba, we've got Coda, and we have got one of the greatest of all time, Anubis Doggy Kruger, aka the Shadow Ranger. And whether you want to say Doggy Kruger over there in my favorite Sentai of all time, Tensou Sentai Deca Ranger, or one of my favorite Power Ranger series in Power Rangers SPD, Kruger is that dude. Don't get in the comments and tell me different. Kruger is that dude. Don't make the argument you can. Kruger is that dude. And I don't really think in like very many mediums that it's very few people touching Anubis, Doggy Kruger. So let's just put that out there. Lauren, that'd be great because see, you know, this needs more females, and I really think Coda can bring something interesting. Given like what things are, I would really just like this once would like them to get Peter Sudarso, I'm pronouncing that man's name correctly. I would love for them to actually get him because it's like he is really heavily involved still in the Power Ranger stuff. So it's like I really think that he would be somebody they can actually get. I'm like, I played Battle for the Grid for like a second just to hear Jen's voice clearly, and it's like it still hurt my soul that Aaron Cahill is not voicing his character. That's just me because Jen Scott is one of my favorite Power Rangers. So for them not to be able to get Aaron Cahill, it's kind of like, you know, I understand because of voice acting and things like that. But I really think that one of the things they really should have worked on for real, and I'm saying, and I'm not saying this because I'm saying it, is that they should have got more of the character, the more of the actors that did it. I'm like the only person I'm kind of like, you know, you may not be able to get immediately may be Amy Jo Johnson because of how busy and how much she commands because of how much she did after Power Rangers. It's like I still think this Tread Triforia thing is weird because they could have done something that attributed more to his run on the show, even though he's not Jason, because of what you could do. That they could have got the twins, Hawkins. They could have done things, but I would love for them to get Peter Sudarso. Like Yoshi, Peter is over there on Ninja Steel. See, they brothers. I like, all I know is last name can't keep first name together, but I hope they do that. But yeah, even given this information, look at that, just beast mode. Look at this, a throwback classic to something that is very ingrained into my childhood. Jason and G.O.D. Now that's gangster. And this is the greatest thing I've ever seen this morning. And will probably be for a while because this is going in my greatest things box. Lord Zedd commanding Super Putties to curb stomp a fool. I'm putting that in my happy box. Because that goes in the happy box. But regardless of that, let's take a look at the basic pack. Now because usually I don't get into like what character patch notes are because those are left more for people who play this game a lot more. But I would like to because I do this part because I need the streets to understand of like what's going on under the hood, the minutia of what making this game great, because the constant balance changing, the way that this game is continually evolving. This is a great game that if you want to be a part of something that's something ever changing and ever evolving all the time, you should get in on Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, and I probably need to follow my own advice. So these are your patch notes, ladies and gentlemen. What are these bug fixes? Fixed an issue of characters being able to snap beneath the floor doing lower aptitude juggle combos. Various attack handles windows fixed, like EX attacks not being cancelable with Zord activation. Okay. Fixed an issue where strop strikes will fling the victim in opposite well, that's some over two, but we'll talk about that. Fixed an issue that prevented PlayStation players with 100 platform friends from queuing in the online matches. That's probably a problem for somebody. And fixed an issue prevented Lord Draken's arcade mode from being completed. That's a big thing. You know, it is what it is. What some known issues that they're going to fix in the future? Megazord attacks failing to produce impact sound effects. This will be fixed in coming up. And also, right now, you can't switch your buttons on the Nintendo Switch. That's a big thing. But, you know, I got faith that they'll take care of this, though. What else we got? New futures. Lord Zedd's in the building, and, you know, you can either get him or have him in the Season 1 pass. I bought that Season 1 pass, so there you go. A new act of story mode because, yeah. Because I know about the first two acts and accidentally saw like how the second act ends because of a picture that I saw on Twitter. So that was an interesting way to end it, but I would love to see it for myself. Story mode junction coming soon. Players can now create up to 3 preset teams that can be selected in the create team screen. Creating and editing your preset teams can be done in your profile. Now that's great given how much they sit up here and they push online as a thing about this game, which makes this game tick and important to be able to be, I want to select this team. And also equally great for tournaments that are run in instances where, like, I think in the local scene though, where it's like everybody playing on the thing or whatever, like, well, oh, my certain team is this, and to have like kind of that stuff like set up before you start playing. That's a virtual fighter meme. I don't know if you've ever heard it before, but you know, customization is important. And while we're talking about virtual fighter, while people screaming to bring it back, can I get a full version of actual Virtual Fighter 5, please? I don't think I'm asking much, Sega. Just putting that out there. Anywho, show damage info display in training mode now displays a juggle limiter gauge, giving training players a visual indication on how the infinite prevention system works, making it easier to practice optimized combos. Oh, that's dope. That's dope. That's dope, man. Shout out to Skullgirls real quick. Just putting it out there. Another fighting game you should play. Always on sale for some reason, like every other week. So if it's not on sale now somewhere, it will be at some point. And usually on the PC, you can get the game, the complete full video game for like $1.50 or something. So you can do that. But if you need to play it on like something else, that's a different story. But yeah, if you got a PC and need like one of the best fighting games in the business, you can usually get it on a off week for like $1.25. So, you know, just put it out there for you. Impact sound effects now play sounds in a more consistent manner. Example, Jason's super generate the same sound impact effects regardless of whether the attack connects or as a juggle or a grounded hit. Okay. Block sound effects have been improved with lighter effects making softer impact sound than heavy attacks. EX and swap strikes. Character visual effect timing more accurately represents when the character is invulnerable to give players a better sense of their invincibility windows. Okay, that's good. And swap strikes have been universally sped up, even having a startup of 6 frames. That's a Marvel thing, and it's like I'm like, we could talk about it, but probably not the best place to talk about how snapbacks work in tag fighting games. And probably, honestly, you probably would want to ask somebody else, because as much as I know about it, there are like a lot of intricacies when it comes to versions of snapbacks in certain tag fighting games and about how they work and why they do and why they're important. But you know, that's another conversation for another day. Mobility and physics. Push box not only affects the object/character whose hitbox/projectile inflicted the push box of block stun. For instance, if you're blocking a multi-hit assist, you're no longer able to get out of jail free with one push block, since the push block won't affect the leader. This is a significant adjustment, making the system Megazor bomb makes it more difficult to get out as the defender. Alright, let me explain, let me explain this. Push block is a magical thing. It's very important and has been very important since the inception of the versus games, because that's where, like, the earliest that I can remember where push block was a thing. It would later end up in the world of Darkstalkers and then permeate video games in various ways ever since. Now, what makes this change very important is that usually a push block works on the initial attack that you do it to, and in some games it's very important where you can just push block everything. But at the same time, in instances where a game where you can push block everything, and then if you push block the wrong thing, guess what happens? Your lunch gets eaten. And because you're going to eat a massive combo, because there are some instances where characters do that as a mix-up, where they put you in a situation where you push block, and if you push block incorrectly, your opponent recovers before you, and then you die. So this is important, because now people who play this game have to really think about the when and where of your push block, just being versus being, I push block this, let's move on. So that brings something completely different to the meta of this game, because now you this is another thing you've really got to think about now. Because if you throw that push block out there now and you sit up here and you blocking something you ain't got no business, you then opened up an instance where the point character can use the assist to make you use your push block, and then you just sat up her and you trying to sit up her and attack, but something quicker coming out. And especially a lot of things in this game can hit really, really, really meaty. So yeah, this is really important. Just letting you know what it is. So what else we got? Normal jump attacks now cost 4 frames of landing recovery, aka trip guard. Classic stuff. Example, a player performing Jason's jump in light will not be able to block during the first 4 frames of their landing animation. However, they can still cancel their landing frames with an attack. Trip guard is very important. It's been in games for years. One of the magical things of, you know, keeping things fair, because there are some instances where in some games where normals are just completely safe. And I mean completely safe in the instant, even with games that have trip guard in it, because of how active effective some hitboxes are, where even if you block it, you still in block stun while the character gets to safely land and then produce their next salvo of attacks. So this is important because given what it is that I've seen about this game, you need something like that where if you can sit up here and think 4 frames ahead of your opponent, you could probably counter them with probably like a quick low or something, or just a quick attack in general, so that you could punish them for trying to sit up here and try to either do something. The only type of metagame guard to this is what's called the empty jump, where you jump and you do nothing. It is one of the greatest mix-ups in history, where you jump and your opponent think you finna do something and do nothing, and in most games you get thrown. Or in some games where throws act as launchers, where this game does, this is going to be a problem for you. So watch your opponent when they're jumping, because if they attack, if you know that your character got a quick low or quick attack and start their version of that salvo, that's great. But if you get empty jump mixed up, or empty jump load or something, you kind of did that to yourself. So noodles. Anywho, dashing can now be performed by pressing like medium or the sing cycle button press with the button configuration memory. There is a built-in leading where you can call a Plink Buffer for most normal and standing light medium attacks. Naturally, this means you can plink and wave dash quickly if you know what you're doing. Have you ever watched people warm up playing Marvel? It's where you can dash with a button and then dash, and you can dash with multiple buttons and things like that. So you can dash with your stick and then press the button, and if you're really, really good with it, you can really use that, because most games don't think about that, where you can get from here to like this, like that, in a way that isn't normally possible with normal dashes. So watch yourself. It is no longer possible to block instantly while dashing. That's probably very important. Most characters have their dash tuned according to their size and play style. So, just to summarize this, big bodies like G.O.D and Dragon Armor Trini are more restrictive about how they do it, but versus like medium body, light body characters who have more mobile speed. So, more of that balancing thing. So it is what it is with that. Crowd casting from a dash now inherits some of the character's momentum. That's great, because that's gonna help. Especially because it's like, this is not a game where you have charge characters. So in this instance of characters who need to make their way across the screen because of the way that movement works, is that combined with being able to plink dashes and stuff, is that you can really, if you really good with your hands, you can really make a whole lot of safe momentum to get your opponent, especially if you playing characters that are rushed down, which this game has a lot of. So, you know what I'm saying? Be careful of that, because what'll also happen is what can backfire, that if you crouch cancel and you do too much, you can sit up here and put yourself in an instance where you ain't blocking fast enough, and then you eat an overhead or a quick low, and then you are sitting up here getting combo back to where you came from. Be careful. Jump height from launcher jump cancels, aka super jumper, are now generally higher than the character's normal jump height, making their air combos easy to perform. Because launchers in this game are pretty weird, but I'm glad that they've normalized that in a way that make it easy, because it took a lot of dexterity, especially for the couple of seconds where I would practice like launch combos with Jason and stuff like that. So it's good to have some normality to that. Projectiles now apply pushback appropriately depending on a character's projectile directory and direction. For instance, if you summon a forward-moving projectile on one side of the enemy, then swap side before the projectile makes contact with the enemy, they should be pushed towards you after being stuck by the projectile. Okay, that makes sense. Alright, air physics boxes have been overhauled and improved dramatically and things like that. So, yeah. Okay, so we'll just summarize this, is that when you do like attacks or whatever, where you get hit in the air and then your stuff is supposed to be adjusted properly, I'm thinking according to this fix, it probably wasn't working correctly, because it was doing like weird things, like being able to introduce like dash under resets or whatever, which are available like in a lot of anime games, because that's like one of the biggest mix-ups in the world, to make somebody either hit a jab or block a jab and then dash under them to then continue to have your offense, instead of it being a reset of who turn it is. So Yeah, that's probably a change you want to make. Now, also corner juggles are more lenient. So if that you had a lot of characters whose whole game in this was to get you, drag you to the corner, and then hit you all day because this game don't have a burst. So yeah, be careful. Hurt box improvements across the board. Character hurt boxes more resemble their model build, reducing the eye phantom shoulder hits. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there are some things where you would think about what the hitbox of a character would be versus what it is. This is a fix to that because there are some characters that I noticed in combo video getting hit by stuff like, well, I don't know if it's supposed to work like that, but hey, it is what it is. Improved character knockdowns for sliding knockdowns like Magic Defender's neutral special attack. These sliding knockdowns are triggered when the wall block combo has been leased. Okay, so now they have like your version of a flip out for characters that would be that were a combo with in and a wall bounce normally. So now instead of it being some weird thing, it's just they just slide backwards and hit instead of being like wall splattered again or other things happening to them. Now incoming characters come into the arena in a more consistent manner after a KO or drops, right? Oh yeah, this is what I've been meaning to get to. This game now has defined combo system rules. That now we got Magic series because you had the basic you had basic technical hunter chains in this instance, and the hunter chain and the difference between the Magic series and the hunter chain is the hunter chain is something that's derived from Darkstalker the Night Warrior and Night Warrior's Darkstalker's Revenge about how combos work, where it's a low to high chain and you can go between things, but once you deviate from it in that instance of, because the hunter chain is it's either all crouching or all standing attacks, and any crouching attack would completely change what the chain does. The Magic series borrowed from Marvel where it's a thing. And then you have even deviations from the Magic series where you have what you would call that. You would have reverse beats and melty blood and things like that, which lets you go backwards with characters who can, and a lot of deviations from that. And it was seen that the changes in this would change where, let me see, second to 9 up and changing the higher strength normal. So is that, let me see, because I'm looking at this what they're talking about Lord Draken here. Let me see, normal Lord Draken can change the standard. So okay, oh, now I understand. So in an instance where, because this game does have some version of like rush chains and anime chains and things like that, where you could start like 2 low attacks and then 2 mediums, but because in the instance of Lord Draken, if I'm remembering this correctly, the second medium in his combo chain is not like an actual normal, but it's like a thing that does like a knockdown or whatever. But because of this change now, is that you can't go any further than that anymore. So your way to the end of a combo chain now changes because you can only do that first M, and it's like if you have a heavy or if you have a special in which to cancel into, you have to do that because the second one will knock down and you can't continue. Or maybe in this instance, because of this change, the second medium is now a special cancelable normal now, so that you could probably do things like that. Larger characters and characters with range 5-star have their own unique rules. Generally, these characters who can cancel standing light and crouching light more effectively at keeping enemy grounded and punishing defensive upbacking. Okay, so characters like that can cancel lights into mediums and have like a basic strength chain. Okay, that makes sense. Spike hits cross now combo, but ground bounce dramatically expanding the overall combo system. Ground bounces from the air, aka spike bounces, a limit of 1 per combo. If a second air to ground bounce is used, they get fully spiked. Okay, launches now have a limit of 2 per combo. The third launch put in a visible launch state ends the combo, but grants an event for the mixed up as the victim recovers. Okay, I think that's a fair change. That's a legitimate fair change. I agree with that. That if you sit up here and you do enough launches and be like, well, it's like, because there are characters in this game who, because of their moveset before this change, were able to do like 3 or 4 launches and you would eat a lot of damage. But a lot of times, not even infinite prevention would kick in, but just combo degradation in general period would kick in because you're doing too much, and the combo at some point will probably do way less damage if you like finished it a lot earlier. Wall bounces are limited to 1 per combo, and by the second one putting the victim in a vulnerable state after they bound by the wall. Okay, so we got that. So it's like, because Godor had some work when he was sitting up for putting fools in the corner. So you know it is what it is with that. Certain attacks that used to cause a flat knockdown now called a ground bounce. A ground bounce has a limit of 1 per combo, separated from a spike bounce. So you can do a ground bounce and then use that as a juggle starter, and then do a spike bounce, which you can still continue to combo. But you shouldn't be able to use more than 1 ground bounce per combo anyway. It's probably some caveat to that. Staggers are limited to 1 per combo, with the second stagger sending a sliding knockdown effect. We talked about that earlier. However, most stagger attacks no longer appear to the juggle gauge limiter because staggers are very important because of how combo spacing works, especially in a game like this. So fair change. Most special attacks no longer trigger the juggle limit essentially, while all normal attacks do. Players can expect their special attacks to play out fully at the end of their max limit combos to make sure you're doing full damage, because there are a lot of times where I would see combo videos on Twitter or whatever, and the combo would end in the beginning and hit that first hit, and then the rest of it's in the air. And in this is where if that super didn't knock down or do something that puts you at some kind of an advantage, you get blown up. Spinning knockdown restriction charges connected with Jason Ford's special against Airborne now behave more naturally and less teleporting. Makes sense. Oh wow, we have got a lot to do. Wow, this is a lot. So let's just quickly get through this because I gotta go more long. Let's see. Most crouching attacks no longer call an air restrict reaction. Most attacks have had their juggle limiter penalty reduced significantly. Idea the new launcher and wall bounce limitation mitigates more repetitive loops while giving players more room. Okay. And we got some basic stuff like that now. What things do as ground bounces and things like that per character. We won't get into that. Super Gage has been decreased across the board because, yeah, you could used to be able to build a whole bunch of meter in this game. So it is what it is like that. So 50 attack and down from 75. Alright, conjunction with the new ground bounce. Damage scaling has been adjusted. It's the combo the longer of a deal. Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be. Yeah, it is what it is. Megazor attack now will counter the combo damage scaling system. With poor players who can pull off intricate Megazor combo, Dragon Draw and block up and stop, and drill attack do scale to a degree, however. Fair enough. Okay, finally assists don't get blown up the way that they used to, but now you take extra damage now from the more damage you already took, because there were some instances where characters were jumping in before in the middle of a combo and getting instantly blow up. So now assists leave the arena now instead of being there and stuck there for a while, which used to be a punish for incorrect assist calls, but now that they leave faster, you know what I'm saying? But even though it's like if you get blown up, as it says, is that you'll take the massive damage, but as soon as it's done, you are out of here. So it is what it is with that. I think that is a perfect change. And now assists constantly enter the screen from a fixed height instead of relative to character position, so that you always know, versus it being some weird guess of what is and what is not. So let's bring it back to me. Let me bring it back to me. Yo, I hate to dash and run, but you know, got some real adult stuff to take care of. But I'm glad we were able to get through a lot of this stuff to see the big changes and the continued metamorphosis of what makes Power Rangers Battle for the Grid a great fighting game. So if it's not on your radar already, you should go ahead and get that on. Nice fighting game to get your hands on. It should be interesting to see what's going on with season 2 and the more changes that are coming to this game. And my boy Lord Zedd looking gangster with that curve thought was super puffy. Yeah, but we've got plenty of more show for you. If you got who I is, I'm of course the one on triple the G.O.D, aka with the CRACKCOCINE hashtag entertainment #1 dope man, aka the baddest monster in existence. Always flanking me, squish, murder, in the crew, the congregation. Betsy, Janine, Magdalene, uno, dos, tres, and cuatros holding down all this button, making this video possible for you. If this is your first time through and you know there are things you can press, subscribe buttons, bell, social media links, and ways to support the show monetarily. So if you want to see this keep going and you got some change you want to throw at me, hey, I'm not going to say no. So feel free to take care of that. Get me on social media. Press all of them buttons and things like that. Speaking of you, what it is that you can do, sit back, relax, and stay tuned. Look, we have got plenty of more show for you. Yeah, we got plenty of more show for you. You think we did, but we totally do. Like I said, keep them firm, baby. Keep them firm. Keep in your seat. Because like I told you, and I'm going to remind you one more time just to let you know, there is more show for you. That's you. Right after these commercial messages. What my Zedd staff at, baby? Like, boom, just like that. Doom, 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 doom. Yeah, it's good. Look, more show follow you right after these commercial